All right, so I'm going to show how to open up and disassemble this HP, where's the model number? Here. Model 17-BS049DX. All right, so this one, the customer actually broke quite a few pieces, so it's missing these little latches to remove the battery. If that's the case, then you're going to have to use like a tool to remove this. But usually what you do is you'd slide this one out to the left. Okay, that's the lock. And then you'd slide this one over as well. I don't know which way, whichever way your latch will let you move it, just move it that way. Okay, it looks like I have to push this inwards, and there we go, the battery slides out. Okay, so I'm not sure how they broke those off, but that's how you take it out. The battery model, here you go. HP spare part number, it's right here, it's really tiny, 919700-850. Let me see if I can zoom in and show that. There you go. Okay, so that's what you need to replace the battery. You'll want to check your battery because your battery might be different, but that's the battery model number on this one. All right, and then the customer also left out a few screws, so you want to get underneath these rubber pieces here. Okay, just peel these up. Okay, just like this. You can use whatever flat tool you have to get it out. I just use my fingernails. There we go, and there's one screw hidden under there. Peel this out, another screw hidden under there, and then peel the two out at the bottom here. Okay, the rubber pieces here are thicker towards the back, and then the ones in the front are thinner, in case you get them mixed up. But you kind of want to try and keep everything in order so that if you do have to put them back, you don't get them all in the wrong order. All right, then there's two screws there. All right, once you remove those 4 screws under those, you're going to remove the 3 along the back that are underneath the battery. Okay. Okay, if you want to be extra safe after removing the battery, depending what you're doing with the computer, I recommend opening the computer. Okay, let's open it up. So you can do this before removing any screws. Once you remove the battery, press and hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds. All right, this will help remove any power from the board, so that way there's no accidents if something were to get shorted out. Okay. All right, so once you've done that, hold the power button for about 10 to 15 seconds. We'll continue removing the screws. If you're just removing the optical drive, there's one screw here. Okay. If you don't really use CDs, you can actually replace this. So to remove this, I just slide my finger up and down like this while I'm pulling it. Okay, and eventually it should walk its way out, just like that. All right, but anyways, you can replace these with a, what do you call, a hard drive caddy. So if you want to add a second hard drive, you can do that with this if you don't really use CDs. Okay, then we're going to go ahead and remove the last 3 screws. So there's one here. One on this side. Again, keep the screws in order because they are different size, shapes, and lengths. The way I do that, I put them like this, and then I just put them in the layout that I pull them out. So whatever this pattern, I just put them like that on my desk. All right, there's one more like this down here. Okay, once you get all those screws out, I'm gonna put these rubber pieces back just because the customer took the screws out and I don't have those, so I'm gonna just leave the rubber pieces in. Okay, they can take them back out later. All right, just remember to put those screws back when you put it back together, because I'm gonna just put them back now. All right, I'll try and remember to remind you guys when I reassemble it, but anyways, there we go. Okay, now that we've got all the screws removed, you want to open up the laptop, but you want to be gentle, do it slowly, because the hinge screws, they're no longer in place. All right, so once you open it up, there's actually a gap here along the top where the bezel is. Okay, so where it meets the palm rest. So what I do to remove these kinds of covers, I get my fingernails in that little gap, and then I use my thumb on the back here, and I'll push that while I pull with my fingernails. Okay, and we just go all the way around. I'm going to close this now that I got the front out. Okay, then we're just going to go around just like this. Same thing with the other side. This side can be a little trickier because of the flat piece of this CD drive, so you want to be careful not to break this. Okay, just like that. And then we're going to go around the back as well. Okay, this can be a little tricky as well. There's a lip here that you kind of have to pull up. Okay, just like this. Sorry, it's going kind of off screen, but hopefully you get the picture. Okay, so if it doesn't come out, sometimes once you get the front and the sides out, you can kind of use that. Let me see here. There's also a clip towards the center. Oh, I didn't get all the clips out, I think, here. There we go. Alright, so once you get all the front ones out, you can kind of lift this. Again, there's a clip in the center, so you kind of have to be careful. Once you get them all out, you can kind of wiggle this, and there we go. So we got the bottom cover off. Alright, inside here, let's go over what there is. There's 2 RAM slots. They're only using 1. To remove the RAM, you just pull these 2 tabs to the side. Okay, this is PC4 2400T, 8 gigs. You can get any PC4 2400T that you want, and then the memory size you can get larger or whatever, it doesn't matter. But usually it's good to have matching sticks. So since there's already 8 gigs, I would recommend putting another 8 gigs. Alright, you got the speaker connector here. This connector comes out pretty easily. Let me zoom in. Alright, so to remove that, you just pinch the wings here, and then you can just wiggle it. Oops. Just keep wiggling it. Don't pull really hard. Just keep wiggling it. I cut my fingernails, so now it's a little bit more difficult. But you just keep wiggling it, and eventually it pops out just like that. Alright, to put it back in, just get that connector, slot it in, and then pinch the 2 pieces together. Alright, so that cable connects actually both speakers along with this cable. Okay. Alright, let me zoom out. There's actually an M.2 SSD slot here. I'm not sure if it supports PCIe NVMe or just the SATA models, so you'll have to kind of experiment with that. I don't have those to experiment with, and they're my customer's computers, so I don't want to mess around with it. You got the fan here. Same thing as the speaker connector. You just grab the wings and keep wiggling it till it pops out. It looks like you can remove it with the screws here. I think there's just 1 screw. I'm not going to mess with it again because this is my customer's computer and they just needed a hard drive replaced. You got the charge port or DC jack here. It runs underneath and it plugs right there. Then you got the LCD LVDS connector here. If you're going to mess with this, make sure that you open the computer with the battery out and press and hold the power button 10 to 15 seconds. That connector is just like these. This is a keyboard connector, but to remove those, you flip up this latch and then you can pull the cable out. I'm going to leave it in again because I don't want to mess things up when it's already working. Okay, you got the optical disk drive connector here. You got this connector here that goes to this USB port and SD card reader, as well as the indicator lights. You got the CMOS or the BIOS battery. They're also calling this the RTC or real-time clock battery now. Then you got this connector here for the trackpad buttons, and then this cable goes to the trackpad or the touchpad. Okay, so to remove the touchpad, you do have to take the whole motherboard out. Then you got this one cable here, and I believe this is for the power button that goes underneath the fan as well. Alright, anyways, now to the main thing. The computer was having hard drive issues, so what we're going to do, we're going to pop this latch up, and we're going to pull this cable out. Alright, you don't have to take the whole cable out, but you can just to be safe to make it a little bit easier. We'll take that out. Then this rubber thing, let me zoom in. Okay, so the hard drive is held in place with this rubber piece. So what you want to do, you can grab the excess here and then pull this rubber piece out. Okay, just like that. Same thing on the other side. All right. Once you get those out, you can slide the hard drive. It has this pull tab, but I don't think it's not very good. As you can see, this whole thing just stretches. So usually what I do is I actually slide it out this way. Or actually, you can use this rubber piece to kind of help pull the hard drive up slightly. If it comes out, let's see. All right, up slightly, just very slightly. You don't want to pull it too high, and then you can end up breaking that. Just enough so you can grip the sides of the hard drive here, and then you can pull this back. All right, once you do that, we can actually take this rubber piece off. All right, you just pull it over to the sides like this. We're going to be upgrading this to an SSD, so let's get the SSD here. And luckily, it looked like I was able to clone this hard drive over to the SSD, even though it was failing. I had to do a long disk check repair, and luckily it was enough to get it to boot. I don't know if it's going to actually run completely, so I'm going to have to check that after I get the password. But it did at least boot to the login screen after I ran some software repairs again after cloning it. All right, so we'll get this hard drive caddy, this rubber piece onto the SSD. Then same thing to put it back, just put it at an angle slightly. Get that into place, all right? Slowly lower it down more and push it into the slot, just like this. Okay, once you get that in, you can set it all the way down. It might be a little bit more difficult to push this in just because the SSD is a little bit thinner than this drive, okay? But so just push along the edges to make sure it goes in completely. All right, and then it's normal that if you push this, it's going to have a little gap here because these rubber things push it back out. But just get these little pieces back in the sides there so that it can't move around anymore. And there we go, we got the hard drive or the SSD installed. Again, there's also the M.2 slot all the way on this side here. So you can put an M.2 SSD. I'm not sure if it's SATA or PCIe NVMe, but yeah, you have that capability as well as replacing the CD drive with one. All right, so now we're gonna just put this cable back in, make sure the latch is up, line this up. Okay, also this one is, it says MB, which means it goes to the motherboard, right? Once you get that in, just latch that over. And then this other side, it says CR. I'm not sure what that means. I think that's for card reader. All right, so then we'll get that lined up, put that latch over. There we go, we got the new SSD installed. So let's zoom back out. Now what we're gonna do, we're just gonna put the cover back on and put everything back together. Okay, make sure if you took anything out that you put it back. The BIOS or CMOS battery, if you're wondering to remove that, I'm not going to pull it out, but what you do is you get a screwdriver and you push it over that way while you lift it up. Usually a small flathead screwdriver works well for that. All right, let's finish putting this back together. Just get the cover back on. All right, once you get the cover back on, just go ahead and push around all the edges. Okay, make sure to push down underneath the CD drive area as well. Okay. Just like that, and then there's also one in the center, but usually it will pop itself in once you get the rest. Okay, so just go around again, make sure clip everything. If you want to be safe, don't squeeze the screen. You can just squeeze directly here. Okay, all right, so now we're going to put these screws back in. Okay, just like this. That and like this. Right, take the CD drive, put that back in, get that screw in. Again, I didn't have the screws for these, but you'd want to also put the screws back under these rubber pieces once you're done. Okay, put back these two screws. And then the last middle screw down here. All right, so once we got all the screws back in, we're gonna put the battery back. These latches are broken, so we'll see how it goes. But put it so the flat side is up, of course. We'll slide this back in, just get it lined up, slide it in. This part latched itself. This one, I don't know if I can actually lock it or not, but yeah. It looks like that's broken. I probably should have checked what it looked like internally, but it does look like it locked itself, so it should be okay. All right, now we're gonna flip this back over and it should be good. So hopefully this video helped you guys. If it did, please like, subscribe, share my channel with others, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. But we're gonna turn it on and I'll just show you that it boots up now. I did clone the hard drive over before doing this, so it is booting Windows. You can see the little thing spinning around. All right, so there we go. All right, anyways, hopefully this video helped you guys again, and I'll see you all in the next one. It's booted. I'm just going to shut it down, or let's restart it one time. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.